Hi everyone, it's Trishna. So in this video, I'm going to be pulling a tarot card, one for each sign of the zodiac, and I will also be doing a healing for each of the zodiac signs. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hi Aries, so what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel like regardless of whether you are thriving or succeeding, although for many of you I feel like you are thriving right now and making the most of this time and really working hard and trying to gain a lot of wealth and abundance in your life. Regardless of that, I feel like you're pretty much unfazed by a lot of what's been going on. You've been doing a lot of focusing on yourself and trying to make the most of yourself and just building and working hard and trying to get momentum going in your life. The tarot card that I pull for you is the Five of Swords. I feel like this represents a lot of what I was feeling intuitively, where it's kind of like you're just moving forward, you're just plowing through, you're just trying to thrive and trying to focus on yourself, and you're kind of looking at everybody else and being like, heh, suckers, like while you're down and like focusing on all of this distraction that's going on, I'm going to be the one that's succeeding because I'm actually staying focused on myself and my goals. So Aries, I think it's great to not be too fazed by what's going on, but also the healing message that I get for you is that it's important that you make sure that you also spend time focusing on those aside from yourself. It's great that you want to get ahead. It's great that you see this as an advantage, but that's really not the kind of thinking that we need going forward. That's the kind of thinking of the past. The past, we were very focused on ourselves and creating this individuality. And I think what we're really learning during this time, or what we really need to take away during this time, is that we are all connected to each other. We are all one, and we all need to take care of each other. So try to spend a little bit less time trying to get ahead of others and leaving others behind in the dust while they're dealing with their struggles and their pain, and try to connect emotionally to the pain that they're going through, and try to help others and try to think about others, because the wealth that you're going to get from trying to get ahead while everybody else is suffering, it's not really going to be fulfilling. It's going to feel empty later, and you're not going if you reach that level, which you most likely will, one of success and abundance, you're not going to really have anybody that's there to enjoy it with. You're not going to have any friends basically at that point in time. And yeah, you won't be able to bring in new friends. And if you do, they're not going to be ones that you can trust, and they'll be very few and far between. So Aries, make sure that you are thinking holistically about everything, because it is all connected. Hi Taurus, so what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel like you are being very much the observer of what's going on. You're really not getting involved in anything. Maybe even at times when you should speak up, or you should have something to say, or you should be doing something, you're really just not getting involved. And I feel like as you are observing, you're not observing completely detached. Like sometimes, usually when we talk about being in the observer mode, we are emotionally detached and we are mentally detached. So we're just observing things as they are, but not placing our judgments or reacting to it in any way internally. But you, Taurus, I feel like you may be reacting to things. You're not completely objective in your observations. I feel like you are seeing everything that's going on and not getting involved, but you're also getting very annoyed internally. And I think that you need to ask yourself why you're getting annoyed. And I think that that is something that you really need to reflect on. And I think that is a healing message for you as well, is that you need to reflect on some things, because I think that the annoyance that you are feeling about everything that's going on has to do with maybe you feeling like it's getting in the way of things, and you need to, or that maybe some of the issues that are coming up are trivial when they really aren't. And so you need to reflect on yourself and see what comes up when you look at more of that darker side, and maybe some of the things that you don't want to acknowledge about your thought process. And yeah, like I think you need to look at that and clear that out, because, and we're all doing this work. If you haven't seen my State of the World video for the third quarter of 2020, you should go watch that, because we all have internal work to do, and it's not just one person or just a few people. It's literally every single person on this planet, even like monks. So we all have something that we need to work on. But for you, Taurus, I think that there's going to be a lot of things that you need to address in yourself that you're currently ignoring about why you're annoyed about everything that's going on. The card that we got for you is the Four of Swords. I feel like this represents that whenever you do try to stay in that observer mode, it's almost like you're meditating, or it's almost like you're in this meditative state. But instead of being that observer, objective viewer, or instead of using your meditation or your observations to bring something positive, you're kind of just fueling this negativity, this annoyance, this cycle of thoughts that you currently have. So focus on what that cycle is, Taurus. Try to pay attention to what thought patterns you have or what beliefs you're currently holding, because I think that you'll feel a lot better once you release those. Hi Gemini, so what I'm feeling for you is I feel like you feel a little bit beaten down, or maybe really beaten down. I feel like you're looking at the world and you're a little bit disappointed about what's going on, but I feel like you may be a little bit disappointed with yourself as well, because you are a communicator and you feel like you need to say something. You feel like you need to speak up in some way, or you need to share some kind of truth, but you don't know what to say, you don't know where to start, you're at a loss for words. And that really frustrates you, because you know that communication is something that you can use to help others, and yet you don't have anything to say. So it feels like you could be helping others, but you're somehow unable to. And the card that you got is the King of Wands. And I feel like this basically speaks to that as well. It's like there's a lot of things that you wish you knew, that you want to say, but you don't have the words, or you don't have the thoughts, or something's just not formulated for you to be able to actually say something. And the guidance here is that you just need to start. You just need to start speaking. You just need to start somewhere with anything, and just allow the rest of it to kind of come and flow, because speaking is your strength. Gemini, you are ruled by Mercury, so communication is 100% something that you are good at and something that translates well when other people hear it, but you just need to start. If you still don't know where to start in order to speak and share your message, or write and share your message, which is one of the reasons why you haven't been able to share anything, here's the healing message that you need to hear. So where you need to start is in one of two places. It's either in what you fear speaking about, because you're not sure how it's going to come across, you're not sure how it's going to be received, you're not sure if you should say something on that, if you have the right to. So look there. Look at, why are you holding back? Like maybe there is some fear of what you want to share that is actually holding you back. And so you do know what you want to say, you're just scared to say it. The other place to look is, what do you feel doesn't really need to be heard? What thoughts maybe do you have, or things that you want to share, but you feel like it's already been shared, or it's not important enough, or nobody will resonate with it? That's the other place that you need to look. So you either aren't able to share your message or know what to say because of fear, or because you think that what you have to say is unimportant, and neither one is true. So look there, and that is where you need to start speaking. Hi Cancers, so what I'm feeling for you intuitively is, I feel like right now you feel very lost, very confused and directionless. I feel like you either have no idea what direction to take, there may be a lot of options in front of you, but you can't see any of them. You're just kind of numb to everything. It's almost like you're blind to what's in front of you, or the paths that you could take. Or you are able to see all the options and you just can't make a choice. You really have no idea which one to go to. And so it's almost like there are no options at all. And the tarot card reading that I got for you, or the tarot card that I got for you, is the Two of Pentacles. And I feel like this represents for you that you are looking at some kind of option of the ones that you see available to you. But you're looking at the one that is least positive, the one that is more negative leaning, the one that is maybe more fear-based, or that is more pessimistic-based, something like that. You're leaning towards the one that fuels and feeds your feelings of pessimism, or validates them in some way. And the healing message that I'm getting for you, Cancer, is I feel like you really can't make the wrong choice. You really can't go in the wrong direction. And that's because even if you follow the negative path, or if you follow the pessimistic path, or if you follow the path that is fueled by fear, you're not gonna end up at the end of that road. Because right now the energy is such that if you follow the path of pessimism, your pessimism is going to still fuel that path. And so you're picking the most pessimistic path, but you're picking that path through your pessimism. So as you go down that path, your pessimism will prevent you from ever actually getting to the end of that path. So you'll just end up where you are right now. So, or maybe even in a better place. So Cancer, right now, I would just say, if you can be positive, try to be. I know it's a little bit hard at this point in time, but if you can't be, then that's fine, because it's not really going to take you anywhere that you shouldn't be. And it's just going to bring you back to where you are, or maybe even bring you in a better position. So just do what you're doing, I guess, Cancer. Hi Leos, so what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel like you are leaving an old state of being and entering into a new state of being. So for most of you, I feel like maybe you've been confused about something in your life for a little while, and so you're really stuck in your head, really stuck trying to figure out maybe what you should do or how to make sense of a certain situation. You're really stuck in confusion, and I feel like you have mostly come out of that and you've swung to the other side, which is of clarity. And so And it could be any kind of form. Like maybe for some of you it's not confusion. I feel like for most of you it was confusion that has now brought you to clarity. But it could be something else where you're at one extreme that was more negative, and now you've come to the other side of the pendulum or the other side of the spectrum that is on the more positive side. So now that you have moved from confusion to clarity, I feel like you know what to do, you know what you think, you know how you feel about something, you know what the plan of action should be. But now you're stuck again. You're stuck in, I know what I should do and I want to do it, but somehow you don't have the motivation to move forward. And that's kind of what's got you stuck. It's like, I know what to do, but maybe you don't quite know how to do it, or maybe you just don't have the motivation to actually act on it at this point in time. The card that I got for you is the Ten of Wands. I'm not entirely sure how this applies. Like, I know what it's trying to tell you, but I don't know how what I just felt and this really connect. So maybe you guys know that and I'm just not privy to that information. But essentially what this card is trying to say is you are a little bit wary of maybe others or of any kind of action or of some kind of decision making. Even though you have some success already, somehow you are a little bit wary of the situation or wary of making any kind of moves or something like that. There's something that you are a little bit concerned or watchful of. The healing message that I'm getting for you with regards to how to act or what action you should take or something like that is now is not really the time for action. And this came up in the State of the World video that I posted a little while ago. So if you haven't seen that, maybe watch that. But now this aligns with that, and that now is not really the time to act. So if you're looking for something to do with this newfound clarity and this newfound interest in acting, what I would recommend is that you allow that clarity to develop and to grow, because you have a lot of clarity, but you don't have complete clarity just yet. There are still some details that you need to figure out, maybe some plans or some steps. And I think that may also be why you aren't able to act yet. It's because maybe you know what you need to do, but you don't have every single step planned out or every single detail. So you have the general idea, but because you don't have those intermediate steps, you're really not sure how to take that next step. You're really not sure how to get to that next phase of the plan. And that may be also why you don't have the motivation, because we may have this grand goal, but if it feels too big, like we know exactly where we need to go or what we need to do in terms of the big spectrum, we're interested, but we don't have the motivation because it seems so big, it seems so out of reach. We don't know that next step. So I think right now, Leo, this is the time for you to allow that clarity to develop even further and to kind of think into that and allow more of the details to be figured out, because then you'll know exactly what to do. You'll have the motivation, you'll have the direction and the next step, and you'll be able to execute. Hi Virgos, so what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel like you're actually in this place where you're almost calm as a cucumber for the most part. And you're feeling pretty good about things, feeling pretty calm, pretty clear about a lot of things. You know what you want to do, you know what you want to say, you know how you want to act, you know what change you want to create about in the world. But I feel like there's a little bit of fear. I feel like you're going to go ahead and do whatever you plan to do. You're going to make those steps, you're going to create those ripples in the world. But you have this hesitation that you have some hesitation still. Like, you're going to do the action, but internally you have a little bit of fear. And that fear is around, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I do the wrong thing? What if I say the wrong thing and it stands there forever? Like, it's forever there for everybody to see. What if I make a mistake? What if the things that I do have repercussions that end up hurting me in some way? So I feel like there's some fear of putting yourself out there in some respect. There are fears of, what if I make a mistake? What if I say something that's wrong? What if I'm leading people down the wrong path? What if I'm creating too big of a ripple and it's going to have some kind of lashback at me? So there's a lot of those hesitations. The tarot card that we got for you is the Eight of Wands, and this represents a lot of fast communication coming into your life. Now, I feel like what this represents is the fear that I was talking about when I was giving you the intuitive message, which is, what if I put something out there and I get this huge, quick, a lot of communication coming towards me that is negative? That's not what I want to hear. That ends up maybe stopping me from wanting to move forward. Though I actually feel, Virgo, that even if this did happen, it would not stop you from what you're trying to achieve here. I feel like you would still move forward anyways. If anything, you would do so with defiance. It wouldn't break you, it wouldn't stop you. You'd just be like, you'd be defiant, you'd be prideful, you'd be like, no, this is what I'm going to do because it's the right. The healing message that I'm getting for you, Virgo, is you really don't need to worry about saying the wrong thing or putting the wrong thing out there for the world to see and then to judge you and point out your flaws and your mistakes on for the rest of time. You really don't need to worry about that. The reason why, Virgo, is because you are so good with your words, you're so good with your actions, you really know how to handle like the PR kinds of things. So even if whatever you're doing has some form of backlash, you're going to be able to handle it. You're going to be able to explain yourself in a follow-up or in a reaction, like in a response kind of way, like video or tweet or Facebook post, or however this applies to your situation. You're going to find a really nice way to explain yourself and express yourself in light of whatever criticisms you may or may not receive. So Virgo, I really wouldn't worry about that. You have a way with words, and that's gonna be what helps you towards your success. That's gonna be what helps you defend yourself against anybody. I just spit. Sorry. That defend yourself against anybody who may want to point out the negative. So Virgo, you have this handled, and also like your heart is in the right place. You are completely aligned to the right things and where things need to go. So please don't let other people and their negativity hold you back. Like I said, with the Eight of Wands, you're not going to let them hold you back. So that's not really something that I need to ask you or beg you to not do. But yeah, just don't let anybody get you down. Don't let that fear or hesitation stop you, because like your message needs to be heard, and you have the clarity of it, and you have put a lot of thought into it, and you're very much aligned with yourself and doing the right thing. And so when you put that out into the world, you're only going to help others do the right thing as well. Hi Libras, so what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel like right now you are in a really good, happy place. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of injustice that is coming to the surface, and that's kind of your jam. That's kind of your thing. Like, you love that injustice is coming to the surface, because you are all about justice. You are all about caring about other people. You're all about righting the scales and making sure that there is balance in the world and equality. So watching everything that's going on, honestly, is really, really exciting to you. These are some really exciting times for you, because through all of this surfacing of the injustice is going to come about the justice that you so very much want out in the world and for others. Now Libra, what I do feel though is that you're too much in the watching mode. You're too into the excitement of it and the joy of it, and it's almost like you're just like watching this all happen, eating popcorn, being like, oh my god, yeah, like you're rooting for the right teams and everything, but you're just at home eating popcorn. You're not actually getting out there and doing something. And so with your tarot card is the Six of Cups. And I feel like the question here is, it's great that you're watching everything. It's great that you're rooting for justice, but what are you doing about it? Some of you may be acting. Some of you may not, though. And so what are you doing about it? Libra, I feel like you're somebody who really enjoys doing charity work. Now, everything that's going on doesn't require charity. It requires support, but I'm just going to use the word charity because it's just, I feel like that aligns more with you. Like, you are a sign that really cares about other people and is willing to do the work and the effort to actually make that happen. Like, if there is a charity, you are probably one that's showing up and being fully present there and really trying to make things actually happen and helping the people that the charity is there to help. So if you aren't already out there, I feel like that is a message for you to go ahead and get out there and start acting on this in ways that you can. And the healing message that I'm getting is in alignment with that. It's, hey, Libra, this is your time. Get out there and do what you do best. Your heart calls. Like, you feel called to do good things for other people. Follow that call. And I think through the healing message, I'm getting that you haven't done that yet. If you haven't done that yet, it's because you needed somebody to tell you that it's okay. Like, maybe somewhere along the line you feel like it's not okay, or that you shouldn't, or you somehow allowed yourself to get a little bit lazy or something like that, and you needed somebody to kind of light that fire, remind you that this is what you're meant to do, so that you can go out and do it. So I think a lot of you probably already are out there helping other people, just, you know, in whatever realm. There's like so many things going on right now, and you are helping other people in some way or some form. So I think that's really awesome, Libra. For those of you who aren't, this is that little kick in the butt that you wanted, or that little reminder, that little push that you were looking for, motivation, whatever it was that you needed. Here it is. Hi Scorpio, so what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel like you're getting a little bit lost in the darkness. So Scorpio, I don't feel like there's any kind of darkness or any kind of issues or anything major really happening to you personally, but there's a lot of things that are going on right now in our world, in our environment, that are, you know, injustices that are coming to the surface. So there are a lot of impurities in our society that are starting to get recognized, and the light starting to be shined on them, shown on them, or however you say that, shined upon them. And I feel like, Scorpio, you're kind of getting lost in there. You are seeing this darkness and it's making you want to hide. instead of wanting to get out and address it or travel through that darkness to the other side, which is the light. And so, Scorpio, I feel like you are just trying to hide from a lot of things at this point in time. And it's so interesting when the tarot cards line up essentially with what I'm saying. So here we have the Ten of Wands. And look at this guy. He's essentially trying to hide. He's trying to go through his life as best as possible, but he's trying to do it without facing anything. And if he had the choice, he wouldn't be out there. He's only out there because he has to carry these sticks somewhere, right? But he's hiding behind them. But this card can also represent strength. It could also represent somebody who's hiding behind their problems, or it could represent somebody who is carrying a bunch of sticks and making moves and using their strengths and actually doing something about the situation. So the choice here is yours. And Scorpio, the healing that I'm getting for you is that the reason why you are hiding and not acting or doing something about your circumstances is because you don't feel like you know what to do. And if you know what to do, you don't feel like you're capable of it. You don't feel like you are important enough or powerful enough or somehow able. And the thing you need to know, Scorpio, is the reason why you feel that way is probably because you're looking out at the world and seeing how others are handling the situation. And Scorpio, you're unique. You're not going to handle it the same way that others do. Some people need to act. Some people need to speak. Some people need to, do. Different people handle things differently. Different people solve problems in different ways, and you have to figure out what your unique way is. And Scorpio, I feel like you're more of a thinker, you're more of a planner, you're maybe more of a strategizer. So fit in to everything using your strengths. Don't try to fit into it how everybody else is doing it, how the majority are doing it. Fit into it the way that you fit into it. So if you are more of a thinker, if you are more of a strategizer and less of a speaker, then be the one that creates the content or develops the plans or builds the foundation, or that puts everything together, that structures everything together, or puts a thought behind what needs to be communicated. So maybe you put the thought behind a communication, for example, and then somebody else communicates it for you, takes that message and puts it in their words and communicates it through their language. So figure out how you fit in, Scorpio, and it's not going to look like how other people are fitting in. So that's what's holding you back, Scorpio. That is why you are in the darkness and not leaving. It's because you're caught up in trying to be like everybody else when you're not like everybody else. Hi, Sagittarius. So what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel like, so Sagittarius, you're somebody who cares a lot about other people. You care a lot about the injustice in the world, and you really want the world to have more justice. And you're somebody who really likes to help others, and you know exactly how to help them. You never are at a loss for how to help somebody or what plan to take. You have strategy after strategy after strategy for basically anything and everything that needs some kind of plan or direction on. So there is no question, there is no confusion around how can I make an impact in the world? How can I help other people? You always have that. It's always there. You always know, even when there's a brand new situation, you know exactly ultimately what needs to be done, who needs to be a part of it, how many people need to be there, what actions do we all need to take, what are the plans that need to happen, what's the communication that needs to go out. Like, you have it all planned. But Sagittarius, you haven't really been involved in that just yet. And that's because I think that you are maybe very busy right now. You may have a lot on your plate. You may be very stressed. You may not have the time. And you may also feel like you have responsibilities closer to home. And those responsibilities may supersede some of the risks that come from getting out there and creating justice and bringing something better into the world at this point in time. So the card that we got here is the Nine of Swords. And I feel like this basically is saying, Sagittarius, that these injustices, or there's something that is going on. It could be what's going on in the spectrum of our world right now with everything going on, or it could be something that is going on in your career, or something that's going on in a personal sense on an individual level. But there's something that keeps you up at night. There's something that really stresses you out. There's something that maybe you feel guilty about. There's something that you feel like needs to be changed, and you need to be a part of that change. Something is really stressing you out, Sagittarius. Something is keeping you up at night. In terms of the healing message that I get for you, I feel like whatever it is that is keeping you up at night, you kind of want to look at it and figure it out and get more clarity on it, but you also kind of don't. You don't want to know what exactly is causing the stress and anxiety, because you don't know that you can deal with it or that you want to deal with it. There's some kind of fear around knowing exactly what this is. And Sagittarius, I feel like you need to address this. because it's like you almost feel like you're not doing the right thing, or maybe you're not spending your time in the best way, or you're not doing right by somebody. This is a general reading, so it's a little bit hard to pick up on. Plus, I think you don't really want to know. So there's that. So Sagittarius, I feel like whatever it is, I think that you should address it. I feel like there may be another individual or individuals involved, and you should bring it up to them, because I think it will go better than you expect. I think that the other person will be maybe more understanding or more forgiving than you expect that they will be. And I think the conversation would go a lot better, and it would alleviate your stress, and you'd be able to share your stress with somebody else. And that might be one of the reasons why you don't want to share it, because you don't want to share your stress with somebody else. But I feel like if this person is important to you and you are important to them, that is too small of a reason to not want to bring this up with them. And you may disagree because the stress and the weight are pretty heavy, and you're like, no, I should not share that with them if I care about them. But I don't know, the guidance I'm getting is that I think you should start the conversation and see where it goes. And I think you'll be, I mean, there are solutions there, and we don't always have the solutions ourselves. So sometimes talking to somebody else, one, allows us to process verbally, which allows us to find solutions for ourselves, and also gives us somebody else that can kind of give their perspective, which can be really helpful to finding solutions as well. So I think it's worth talking to them about this. And yeah, like, whatever guilt you feel or embarrassment of sharing this, I don't think you need to feel. I think the other person will be very understanding and very supportive. So that is what I'm getting for you, Sagittarius. Hi Capricorn, so what I'm feeling for you intuitively is I feel like some of you may have been in a bit of confusion a little while ago, where you're just confused about things in general, whether it have to do with what's going on or whether it has to do with something personal in your life, like maybe how to handle situations at work or your career or your goal or your passions or something like that, or something in your family. There was something that you were confused about. I feel like you have come out of that to where you found some clarity. I feel like you have started to rely more on your strength of being really structured in your approach about things and how you do things, but also how you think about things. And I feel like you have been using that strength in whatever area was giving you confusion before. So for some of you, that could have been with your career, like maybe you've been doing really well in your career now because you are putting more structures in place and being more methodical about things, or documenting something better than you had before, or putting a process in place that others can follow so that everything is streamlined, or a process just that you can put in place. You've been using your structured thinking in some area of your life, and that's been really good. And I feel like now you're kind of taking that another step. I feel like you are starting to maybe speak out. Maybe you had some fears about sharing some of your thoughts on a bigger platform than you normally do, and now you're overcoming a lot of those fears, and you're starting to speak out, and you're starting to use your structured approach to help in a bigger way than just your personal situation. So you're kind of expanding your reach right now and using your strengths to help with that expansion and help in whatever outside realm you are currently working on or thinking about working on. So I think that's really good, Capricorn. I feel like you're on the right path. I feel like you know what you want to do and how you want to help other people. So before, like I was saying, you're focusing on yourself, but now you're expanding that realm. When you expand that realm, it's because you want to help others, you want to be more involved, you want to play on a bit of a bigger scale than just yourself. And yeah, I feel like you are, you know how to do that. You know what your action is, you know what your plan is, you know how to think about things, you know how to actually execute on all of this. So the tarot card that we got for you, Capricorn, is the Knight of Swords. And I feel like this, so basically what the Knight of Swords represents is moving forward with really fast, quick action. So this could be somebody coming into your life who is doing that, but I feel like this actually represents you in the near future. Right now, you're very methodical, you're very structured, you know what your plan of action is and what you're going to do, and you're just going to execute on that. It's very clear what you need to do now. You were confused maybe before, but now you're very clear on how to support the world, how to help others, how to expand your reach, and how to do so in a way that's good, that aligns with you, and you've overcome the fears that were holding you back from doing that before. So you have this methodical plan, and so right now you're not in this fast-moving action of I need to come in, I need to make things happen, I need to move quickly and passionately. You're still in that structured mode, but I feel like this is saying that this is something may call you to action in this way. And I think, Capricorn, that while that may slightly scare you right now, but not too much because you overcome a lot of fears, you will be ready when this happens. You will want to act, you will want to get out there, and it's going to get you really involved in something. It's going to get you really involved in something, and you're going to love that because you love to be involved in things, especially when it involves other people and connections and politics between people, you know, whether it's at work and being really involved in the work. So this is going to be in a bigger realm, but I'm giving the example of work, where at work you like to be really involved. You like to be in meetings, you like to be in the know through those meetings, you like to be on mailers and reading through the communication, you like to be involved and you like to speak up in those meetings. So that's traditionally how you do it. You're going to be called to being really involved in something that is in that bigger scale that you're now working on. So when the call comes, I think you'll be ready. The healing message that I got for you, Capricorn, is something that I think you already know. It's something that you have already figured out, and that is that you are currently on your path. You are following your purpose. You are exactly where you need to be. You're moving exactly on the path that you need to be moving on. And whatever you are called to with this Knight of Swords that you're going to be ready for, whatever you are called to is your path. It is what you need to be doing. And you will know it then, and I think you know it now. And the thing is it may not look like anything that you ever thought was going to be a part of your journey ever. Like, you didn't think that any of this was going to be a part of your journey. And when this Knight of Swords comes up, it's going to look different than anything you had imagined as well, you know, even now. Not completely different. It's going to make sense when it shows up, but, you know, it's different than where you thought you'd be or how you thought you would help the world. And you don't even care. You don't care about that. A lot of times when we want to find our path or our purpose, we really want just validation for something that we think that we want to do. It's like, oh, I'm really interested in this. I want this to be my passion or my purpose. So we try it hoping that it will be validated for us. And there may be something else that we should be doing that we don't want to do because for whatever reason we have some kind of mindset that that's not right for us, or it's not of interest to us, or we're embarrassed by it, or it's not good enough for us in some form or fashion. If you haven't seen my video on like reasons why we aren't able to connect with our purpose or our passion, I would recommend that you check that out. But a lot of times we have these blocks that keep us from actually connecting with what is our path, what would truly fulfill us. And at this point in time on your journey, you don't care about any of that. You don't care if something doesn't look right, if something doesn't fit right, if something is embarrassing. Like, you don't care about any of that. You just want your path, and you know it's going to show up for you, and you know that you're currently on the path to find it. You are on it, on the path to your purpose. You're doing your purpose. And so when it shows up, even if it takes a different form, you don't have a care in the world. You're like, whatever it is, like I'm gonna be all in. It's gonna fulfill me. I'm gonna fulfill it, and it's gonna be awesome. So Capricorn, it's really great. Hi Aquarius. So what I'm feeling for you intuitively is, first of all, Aquarius, you are the sign of the humanitarian. So that means that it is your drive, your energy, your interest to want to help people, but on a bigger scale. So whether that's political, or whether it has to do with something like world hunger or poverty, or anything to do that is humanitarian, something that is really about society as a whole and helping in that bigger realm. And now we're in an environment where we really need your help. We really need you to lead us. We really need you to use that humanitarian heart and take us from where we are right now, where things and injustices are coming to the surface, to the light, for us to address and lead us to creating that new, better world where everybody is served and not just a select few. And Aquarius, I feel like you aren't really doing very much of that. I feel like you are kind of sitting away. You're seeing everything that needs to be done. Your heart connects to it, but you're not acting. And I feel like the reason why you're not acting is because it's almost like everybody just called your bluff. Like, you know that you're the humanitarian, you know you've been talking about it for all of time, you know you've always been interested in it, and you have always had these high morals of how things should be and how you want to change things. And now that the time is here, you're not really acting because you feel like your bluff got called. You feel like, oh, wait, I was just talking and now I actually have to do something about this. Like, now everybody's looking at me. Well, I can't do that. And so you're kind of hiding in some ways from actually dealing with things. And the tarot card that we got is the Page of Pentacles. And this, I feel, represents the dreamer side of your sign. You are a humanitarian, but you're also very dreamy. You also are very imaginative. And I feel like you're really stuck on that. Really, you had all these ideals and this mentality of how you wanted things to be, and you're still stuck there and not in the mode now where we need you, which is in the action mode of taking those ideas and actually materializing them into something that we can all live together, not just you live in your mind. The healing message that I'm getting for you, Aquarius, is we didn't call your bluff. And the reason why is because there was no bluff to call. Being humanitarian, caring about these kinds of causes is you. It is who you are. It wasn't fake. It wasn't just all talk. But for whatever reason, you're a little bit rattled about this, and while you have ideas and you have plans and you know how things should be executed, you can't get there somehow in your mind. So here's what you need to do, Aquarius. You are a thinker. You are very intelligent. So start there. Start with the ideal, start with thinking, start with the plans, and start sharing that with other people. Start putting that out there. Start writing about it, start sharing it with your circle, especially your circle who is willing to act. Because I feel that you likely have people around you who are willing to act. Right now you're in your mind, and that's okay because you can be balanced by the circle of friends that you have or the group that you're surrounded by who wants to act instead of think. So the two of you actually complement, or you and all of them, it's not just two, but you guys complement each other at this point in time. So you do the thinking, they do the acting. And as you see them act, it will inspire you to act. And you will be swept up in that and be able to do both the planning and the acting. So Aquarius, start there because we didn't call your bluff. You're not hiding because you can't actually do this, you can. But you need to start with your strengths right now. You need to start where you feel comfortable so that you can then see other people do the parts that make you uncomfortable, and then that will get you used to those things and you will feel comfortable doing that as well, and you will leap into that and you will start executing and thinking as well. And I think even just planning and putting your thought into things will get you excited. It will get you excited about executing. Like that may be all you need is just the thinking and the planning, and all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, I want to actually execute on this. And you may not have that drive to execute because you've been thinking about this for so long and you've never had the opportunity to like actually execute on this in a profound way. And so you've been doing all this thinking, but you never had the chance to execute. And so your desire to execute basically fell away. And now that the time is here, you're just so used to never being able to act on things that now that the time is here, you don't have that drive there because your drive has been basically like numbed from all the past times when you tried to make a change and it didn't work out. But now the time is here. So I think once you get back into the thinking mode, once you get back into the planning mode, your drive to execute will come automatically. You might not even have to wait for those around you, if there are those around you, to get that fuel running for you as well. Like it may just come through the planning and the talking and the thinking. Hi Pisces. So what I'm feeling for you intuitively is, first of all, I want to thank you. Because we're going through a time right now where a lot of the darkness and a lot of the impurities in our societies are coming to the surface for us to address, for us to break down, so that we can build something new and better, a better society and a better world where all of us are served and not just the select few. And the reason why I say thank you, Pisces, is because you were a large part of that coming into fruition. And that is because you are a dreamer, you're imaginative, you are an idealist. And so that means that you were always holding visions. This entire time, consistently, you were holding a vision of a better world where we are all happy, where there is abundance, where we can all work together, where there is harmony. And you did that better than anybody else because the rest of us, we wanted the same things too. We've all wanted this, or most of us have wanted this, but we weren't as optimistic as you. We weren't believers like you. We had our hopes, but we would get down. We would sometimes look at the world and be like, nothing will ever change. This will always be the same. It's always going to be shattered and broken. But not you, Pisces. You held on to your vision and you stuck with it. And it's been something that you've held on to within yourself for the longest of times. And because you held that vision, that vibration, that purity for so long, it helped create this transition period that we're currently in that is going to lead to these better things. So thank you, Pisces, for doing your part in our journey as a society, as a whole, as a consciousness, to reaching that new level of high. And a lot of people were a part of that, but you, Pisces, I just want to say that you guys had a pretty strong part in that as well. The tarot card that we got for you is the Five of Cups. So we're now in this transition stage. And the problem is that we're focusing too much on the things that we've lost and not enough on the things that we could gain from all of this. We are focusing on the destruction and not the fact that destruction actually brings about construction. It brings about something new. You know, when a phoenix turns to ash, then there is a new phoenix that is reborn. So I think the world, and maybe you, Pisces, to an extent, are looking at everything and saying like, oh my gosh, like everything has fallen apart. And this isn't the time to focus on that. This is the time to think about, okay, what has fallen apart and what needs to be improved and what needs to be kept and what needs to be left in the past and to no longer be a part of our future. Not to forget about, but to no longer be a part of how we build what's going to go forward. And how can we improve things based off of all that information? What are we going to do? How are we going to change things? How are we going to build things? So we all need to not focus on just the destruction. We need to focus on the opportunity that the destruction brings, which is the opportunity for change and betterment and for service for all. And I guess I didn't finish the intuitive part of what I was feeling, but I basically feel like your energy right now is just happy with what's going on. I mean, not happy about what has been going on, like the injustice, but happy that it is coming to the surface and that we are having to address it, and that it is giving us this push that we need to make something different, to make something better of ourselves as a society. So I think that you're like all for all of this change. And in terms of the healing message, I think that you hope that this isn't the end of it. I feel like you hope that there is more to come, because there is more that needs to come. And you don't want the momentum of what has already transpired this year to come to a halt. You don't want us to have gone through all this destruction just for us to go back to the way that things were. So I think that you want more of this. You want more of what has been suppressed to come to the surface, because here we are. We're here. We're addressing this. Bring it on. Bring all of it. Like, let's not just focus on the few things that need to be fixed. Like, we are here. We're given the chance to fix everything, to do total destruction and total reconstruction. So let's do it. So Pisces, that's the healing message that I have for you. Is it is not just your responsibility to do this, but it's all of our responsibility to do this. But you should, if you want to lead the way in making sure that nothing that has come to the surface, don't let any of that lose its momentum. Keep the discussion going. Keep us all on the right track. Keep us all moving forward towards that solution. Don't let any of us forget about everything that's transpired this year, everything that has come to light, and everything that needs to be fixed. Don't let the past repeat itself, where things have surfaced and they've surfaced, and then somehow they got placated and they got suppressed again, and they surfaced and they got suppressed again. And we're finally at this boiling point where, like, what should have happened a long time ago is finally getting the chance to happen now. And lead the way in making sure that that momentum isn't lost, because it's important that it's not lost. So that is a healing message that I have for you, Pisces. So that concludes all of the tarot reading and healing messages for all the zodiac signs for the present moment in time. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I earned your like and your subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.